What's going on, you NHL fans? We see coming to you live from the DraftKings headquarters here in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm here in the studio. We just finished shooting The Sweat. I'll be coming to you with some breaking news. Breaking news, I will be on The Sweat. We're going to be discussing all things NHL along with our man Emerson in the QB slot. We're going to be breaking it down for all you NHL fans around the world. Tune in.
All right, it is Wednesday, my dudes, and yeah, we've got the master of breaking news, Kevin Weeks, on the program. We're looking ahead to the NHL season because preseason games have started. Camps are in full swing. We got the Gojo gang stopping by, a special celebration there, and also their thoughts on the growing legend of Cooper Rush. We're going to talk week 4 spreads around the NFL, which ones our analysts believe are too short, which ones they believe are too long, and PGA Tour DFS picks for the Sanderson Farms Championship, which you could probably name just 2 guys in this field. But let's go ahead and let's start on the diamond because the MLB season is in a sprint to the finish line. Last day of the regular season is going to be 1 week from today. So if the postseason started today, the Guardians would host the Mariners here. And then Toronto would host division rival Tampa Bay. The O's are still in this thing, 3.5 games back as you look at the wild card standings here in the American League. It could happen, Roger. Let's see which guys our analysts are paying up for tonight. It's splurge or save time with DraftKings contributor Gary Thorne, RotoWire's Paul Bruno, and Eric Halterman in the house as well. Gare Bear, I want to start with you here, dude. The Yankees clinching the AL East in a wild card series bye last night. However, it's been 7 games now since Aaron Judge has hit a home run. The man is stuck at 60, plus 205 to hit historic number 61 tonight on the DK Sportsbook in the 6. You want that?
It's not terrible. I'm not a huge Mitch White believer. I'll say that right off the hop. Although the one thing Mitch White has kind of done well this season is limit home runs. He's only allowed 0.5 home runs per 9 as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays, despite his ERA being up over 5. So that's a little interesting. But allow me to say this. This is my audition for my own Jared Carrabba's style Blue Jays segment. Swing the bat.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Swing the bat. All I'm seeing, and look, props to the DraftKings Sportsbook for reimbursing people on that prop last night.
Thank you.
That's just because we're a good company.
Yep.
But you know what?
What?
Swing the bat.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this. Oh, the Blue Jays pitchers were cowards. Aaron Judge saw 33 pitches last night.
Yep.
Pick one and hit it over the fence, man.
Yep.
All right? This was not about the Blue Jays not being aggressive. Full count on every single walk. Swing. I don't think he wants it. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say I don't think he wants it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I totally agree with you. I'm sick of waiting for it, too. I'm sick of the cut ends every single night. Swing the effing bat. Paul, you said Monday you think that he hits number 61 here in this series. So how's this matchup looking for him tonight?
Well, this is the game that I was pointing at, so I'm not surprised that he was blanked in the first 2 because the quality of pitching among the starters was higher than it's going to be tonight. I know Garion touched on that, but the fact of the matter is this is going to be a bullpen day for the Blue Jays. I don't expect Mitch White to go long, and after that you're going to get some of the lower leverage guys from the bullpen out there, and so that also plays into the fact that Judge's chances should be good, and he's seeing a lot of pitches. Again, I'm with Gary, and why doesn't the guy take more swings at them? And if he does, the likelihood of hitting one out is going to be even higher. So everything points to one going out of the yard tonight, and I think I'm on this bet.
All right, awesome. Eric, would you pay $6,300 for him tonight in DFS because he's 5 for 19, 12 walks, 8 strikeouts in 7 games since hitting 60 last Tuesday?
I mean, you get points for walks, so you're probably paying for 3 or 4 walks. So I don't know if it's an amazing deal, but I think it's fine, as is the homer prop. I think it's set in more or less exactly the right place. He's homered in 32.6% of his games this season, and the implied odds on this prop are 32.8%. So it's right there. You've got the Mitch White factor giving him more chances to homer on one side, but the walks aren't going to go away, guys. When you are this much better of a hitter than everyone else in the league, you don't get pitched to. And you look at Judge in the first half, he walked 11.3% of the time. In the second half, 21.9% of the time. And that's over 25% in September. Look at, say, Barry Bonds in his 73 homer year. He walks 26.7% of the time. So this is just what happens when guys do this much damage when they hit the ball.
Yep.
They're not going to get many pitches.
Yeah, Judge went 0 for 1, 4 walks on Tuesday night. He's a fraud in the eyes of Gary and Thorne and many other people around this planet right now who are sick and tired of waiting for it. Paul, what you want to do at pitcher tonight? You want to splurge or save?
I think I'm going to go splurging tonight. Garrett Cole has to be a strong consideration, even as the most expensive pitcher at $10,700, owing to the notion that I shared earlier about the Jays' quasi bullpen day. I do shy away from him, though, in this game because the Yanks may have also be basking in the celebration of their division title after clinching last night. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Maybe there was a drink or two after the game. At this stage of the season, I look for situations where a team and a pitcher has something to play for still. So, for instance, the Phillies and starter Aaron Nola jump to the top of my list as they're battling for that wild card spot and have a very favorable matchup against the Cubbies. Nola's been the Phillies' best starter this season and has been on a roll over his last 4 starts, so I sooner pay the $9,700 on use him tonight.
All right, Eric, what do you want to do here at pitcher?
Yeah, I'm also paying up, and there's a lot of really good names, but I'm going to go for Brandon Woodruff at 10,000. And the main reason to pick him among the other top names is that he's facing a Cardinals team that just clinched the division. They're also effectively locked into the number 3 seed. I don't think they're going to catch the NL East winner. They'd have to win out and have both the Mets and Braves lose, basically, to get the number 2 seed. So they don't have anything to play for the rest of the year. I'd expect them to send out the JV team in many games, especially today. Woodruff, though, I think would be fine even if not for that. He's having an excellent season. Even with some early struggles, he still has a 3.18 ERA and a 3.19 FIP. Always fun to see those numbers almost in exact agreement there. Striking out over 30% of guys while walking just 7%. He's also coming off 3 straight double-digit strikeout games. So he's pitching great really all year and especially lately, and I expect him to face a bunch of backups out there today.
Gary, are you going to make it 3 dudes splurging on a pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, look, there are a couple options at the bottom. Like you could go with a Michael Lorenzen against the Athletics. He's just $6,200. But if you're asking who is the best pitcher on this slate, it's everything Eric just said. It's Brandon Woodruff. I mean, you also kind of combine what Paul was saying. I mean, Woodruff has something to pitch for if that is something you are looking for. The Brewers need to start winning some games, whereas the Cardinals do not need to win anything the rest of the way. They are essentially locked into that 3 spot. I doubt we see Goldschmidt. I doubt we see Arenado. Pujols, I guess if he wants to play and rack up some more counting stats for his career, he's probably given that opportunity, but I doubt he plays in this game as well. It's just going to be an unrecognizable Cardinals lineup. And if that weren't enough, Woodruff's been amazing his last 4 starts. He's got a 1.67 ERA across his last 27 innings. He struck out 37 opponents in those 27 innings as well. So you're getting elite strikeout production combined with a team that just doesn't need this one. I think Woodruff's going to be super popular. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's a reason, and it's very justified that he's going to be that popular.
All right, so 12-game slate. Let's go to hitter. You want to splurge or save here? What's your game plan tonight, Eric?
Yeah, often I save all the way down at the bottom. We'll still save, but we'll go to 3,700 for Lamont Wade Jr. I really like Giants guys in DFS because they have a lot of hitters who don't have amazing overall numbers, but hit one-handedness particularly well. That's how they built their roster. Wade epitomizes that. For his career, a 118 WRC plus against righties, -6 against lefties. So I guess the only negative there is he may come out after the starter leaves the game. But until then, I think he's going to produce a lot better than his overall numbers are this season. Only hitting 193, 296, 356 for the slash line. But that's in a fairly small sample because injuries have limited him to just 72 games. Also, his underlying numbers totally fine. 20.9% strikeout rate, barrel rate just over 10%. Guys who are within 1% of both of those marks are guys like JT Realmuto, Brandon Drury, Sean Murphy. So he's making an above average amount of contact and hitting it pretty hard. That should lead to better results than he's seen so far, especially given that he'll probably lead off and get the platoon advantage against Jose Urena, who has a 5.34 ERA, strikeout rate under 14%. So he's going to allow a lot of contact to Wade and the rest of the Giants. I'd expect him to have a good shot to score potentially multiple runs here as the leadoff guy.
Gary, what do you want to do here in the batter's box, bro?
Yeah, I mean, Eric sort of referenced the fun thing you can do this time of year, which is there's so many top prospects up, and the pricing algorithm hasn't really adjusted for them yet that you can sometimes get them at the absolute minimum. I'm going to find a guy at the absolute minimum. He is not a top prospect. We are going to talk about Mike Ford of the Los Angeles Angels. Really, this is just like an amalgamation of two factors. One, Adrian Martinez is starting this game for the Athletics. He's bad. He's given up 2.22 home runs per 9 in his 10 starts this season. His last 3 games, he's faced 70 batters. They've combined to hit 387 with a 500 WOBA. This guy is not good. Now, the Angels, also not good. They are the epitome of that like drawing of a horse meme where it starts off really beautiful, then it becomes a stick figure.
Yeah.
This lineup gets terrible once you get past Taylor Ward, and that's exactly where Mike Ford comes in. He's going to bat 5th. He shouldn't bat 5th. He doesn't have the stats to justify him batting 5th, but he's going to bat 5th. And that's a premium lineup spot in a fantastic matchup at the absolute bare minimum. I think Mike Ford is a really good play tonight, as strange as that might sound.
Paul, splurge or save on a hitter?
I got to tell you, I had to mute myself because I was laughing my head off with Garion's comments. I'm right with him there, but I'm going to go to the other end of the Angels lineup. Mike Trout for $6,200. He's facing that Orioles starter who's been dreadful. 6.10 ERA, just touches on the story. 24 hits, 6 homers, and 16 earned runs in his last 3 starts, covering only 13 and 2/3 innings pitched. That's terrible. I'm also interested in Bryce Harper for $5,100. Again, looking at the meaningful nature of his team's matchup and his platoon edge against an inexperienced starting pitcher in Hayden Wesneski tonight.
All right, guys, before you 3 take off, let's do a quick trip to the DK Sportsbook. So splurge and go with an underdog tonight, or play it safe with the favorite on the board. I need you to live a little bit here, Gare Bear.
Yeah, let's take an underdog in the money line. Not a massive underdog, but an underdog. The Orioles probably shouldn't be underdogs against the Red Sox. Yes, the Red Sox still have the potential to score a lot of runs, but Dean Kremer's been really good lately. He's got a 2.29 ERA across his last 8 starts. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys, so his FIP isn't fantastic, but he's not allowing a bunch of home runs either, just 0.4 home runs per 9 in that span of time. And then you've got Rich Hill in the game for the Red Sox, and even if Hill is okay, which he has the potential to be, he's only going to throw 4 or 5 innings, and that opens up the door for a lot of work for this Red Sox bullpen, which A, is already tired from having to pitch in that game last night, and B, has the highest ERA in baseball by a half run since the All-Star game. I just think the Orioles are going to score a lot of runs tonight, so I will take them on the money line.
All right, Paul, what you want to do on the DK Sportsbook?
You know what? Garion and I agree way too much, so I'd like to go first when we're on once in a while here too, instead of following him up. But I land on this game for much the same reasons. It's a much more meaningful game for the O's than the Red Sox. The visitors are trying to fan their fading playoff hopes, and their offense has exploded for 23 runs in the first 2 games of the set. Sadly, their pitcher has surrendered 21 in that high-scoring series so far. Tonight, the visitors are a 105 plus on the money line, despite the fact that their starting pitcher, Dean Kremer, has been far more effective both over the season and in recent starts as compared to the Bo Sox starter, lefty Rich Hill. Take the visitors here.
Eric, you splurging or you playing it safe?
I'm going to be a coward this morning. Part of me wants to take Nationals plus 170 versus Atlanta because they're facing Jake Odorizzi and get plus 170, but they're also the Nationals. So I don't think I have the guts to do that. Instead, I'll make my Canadian friends sad, as well as young Eric, who also lived in Toronto and was a big Blue Jays fan. I'm going to pick Yankees minus 125 at the Blue Jays. How is it only minus 125 when it's Garrett Cole versus Mitch White? I know Garrett Cole has allowed 4 earned runs in each of his last 3 starts, but I don't think he pitched terribly in those games. He was bitten by the long ball, 7 homers across those 3 starts. That's not great, and definitely the Blue Jays have the power to knock some out on him here. But the rest of his line, he allowed fewer hits than innings pitched in all 3 starts. He struck out 8 or 10 batters in all 3 starts. I don't think this is Garrett Cole in a big slump or anything. I think this is Garrett Cole close to himself with a few bad pitches in there. Then Mitch White, on the other hand, 5.12 ERA on the season, 7.39 since joining the Jays. Just doesn't strike anybody out. Has only struck out 2 guys in each of his last 3 outings. When you look at these 2 pitchers, it should be minus 150. I think even with both lineups being quite good. So I think minus 125 is the steal here on the Yankees.
Eric, Paul, Gary, and appreciate you guys. Your job here is done. Coming up, though, we got Team Gojo joining the program. We have a ton on tap, including a special celebration for the Master of Mayonnaise. Plus, how soon until Jerry Jones makes Cooper Rush the highest paid quarterback in NFL history? Let's get into it right after this.
Baseball's dead? Nah. We've got pitchers hitting grand slams, a team playing a four-man outfield, and the best crop of major league talent maybe ever. Baseball is alive and well, and it's about to get even better. Bet just $5 to get 100 in free bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, bet $5 to get 100 instantly, and get in on the action.
Everyone loves an underdog story. You know why? Because it fills you with hope, makes you believe, right? Hold on now. Did you say any team? So now I can bet the overdog for underdog odds? Team Overdog, where you at? Let me hear you.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet just $5 to win $200 if your team wins. Action's so good, why bet NFL anywhere else?
You know, betting without a game plan is a little like skating a giant ramp without helmet and pads. I wouldn't risk it. And I wouldn't bet without a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook provides you with tools to set a realistic budget and time limits, so you're ready to bet responsibly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and casino apps to learn more about how you can practice safe bets.
All right, every single weekday, a gift is bestowed upon us. And said gift is the Gojo Show. Just two former Notre Dame teammates, and Mike Golick Jr. and Brandon Newman, sharing laughs and tears while they gossip about the hottest topics across sports and pop culture. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, and more like YouTube. Tell them Emerson sent you. They also join us here on The Sweat every Wednesday morning, but today is a little more special than any other Wednesday this time of year, because today is Mike Golick Jr.'s 33rd birthday. Yeah! The same age Jesus died. Mike, happy birthday, bearded wonder.
Thank you. I look forward to going out in a similar blaze of glory, and I hope that when I come out on the other side, I come back with that luscious head of hair you guys threw up there.
Oh my God, we were digging through some of your old pictures yesterday, like the whole team. Man, you used to have this ginormous curly fro. It was beautiful, dude.
You know what? It's one of those things you truly don't realize what you have until it's gone. I felt like, what's his name on The Office? Don't you wish someone would tell you these are the good times while you're still in them? I wish someone would have told me to throw a few more top knots in there, throw it into a messy ponytail when I had the chance, because now it's gone forever.
Brandon, did you text or call him today to wish him a happy birthday?
I think I did.
Oh,
we are always talking. So I had to actually fake his birthday yesterday for today's podcast. So yeah, I'm so deep into Mike Golick Jr.'s birthday. But also, we missed a window. Mike, man buns weren't popular when you had all that hair, which is a travesty, really.
Oh, dude.
I know.
Wow. Golick Jr. with a man bun? I'm a little too hot and bothered thinking of that, baby.
Yeah. The Sweat's a PG-13 program here, Emerson. Save this for after. You can FaceTime me later.
All right, yeah, sounds good. I will do that. Also, gentlemen, we're going to be celebrating the birthday of living legend Cooper Rush in less than 2 months. That's going to fall actually just a few days before Thanksgiving. This man, Mike, has won 100% of the games that he has started. Not even Tom Brady can say that. So how long can Dallas keep this up without Dak, dude? I mean, they are right there neck and neck with the Eagles, just one game behind them.
Yeah, long may he reign, Cooper Rush, first of his name, father of dragons, every title we want to bestow on him, which actually works because he's a redhead, so feels very Targaryen. But no, you know what? I think they're going to come up to some unfortunate realities here in their schedule pretty soon. They're going to face some of the NFC's best. I think they do get the Eagles coming up here pretty soon, which is going to be a loss for them. They have got our Detroit Lions, which I think are going to be a formidable task for them. But I think he's going to do exactly what you needed him to do, which is keep you afloat and get you in that 4-3 range when Dak Prescott is hopefully able to come back. if he's able to hopefully come back on that more aggressive timeline that they've lined up here. But that's his job. He is stamping his backup quarterback card for another few years, much like the god Chase Daniels. But I think they can keep this going to an extent. This is a defensive football team. They made this change last year, quite honestly. And I don't think we fully gave that side of the ball the credit it deserved coming into this year. There were some losses, but credit where it's due on that side of the ball. Dan Quinn has got them playing lights out. And Micah Parsons, they have one of the best, most impactful players in football.
Brandon, Cooper Rush looks like he dressed up as Andy Dalton for Halloween, but he's been Mr. Reliable. He's been dependable. That's all the Cowboys need him to be right now, not lose games.
Hey, he's the heart of the MAC, Central Michigan's finest. I say as long as Dak is out and Cooper Rush is the quarterback, the Cowboys are going to go undefeated. I was trying to find future odds for Cooper Rush MVP. We haven't put it up yet from DraftKings. We got to get on that because I just feel like he's a lock. He controls the game. He's a steady hand, and he's making Kellen Moore look better than Dak Prescott. I won't say better than Dak Prescott ever did, but when Dak Prescott does his magic, it feels like it's Dak Prescott's magic. When Cooper Rush does his magic, it feels like it's Kellen Moore's magic.
All right, I kind of feel that. So this is one of those like fun weekends too, as we stick with the NFL here. Mike, we're going to wake up Sunday morning. We're going to be watching live NFL football like 9:30 Eastern time over here. I mean, hell, that's going to be what, like 6:30 for you in California because the NFL kicking off in London. We've got the Vikings, we got the Saints. How do you feel about these international series? So you got London, there's going to be Mexico City in there, and I believe they're going to Germany for the first time like this season.
Yeah, no, very excited for the Germany trip. My dad's calling games over at Westwood One. I think gets to make that trip. So Mike Golick Sr. and Lederhosen, let that image haunt your dreams for the rest of eternity. But no, you know what? I'm actually always been a big fan of these games. As a fan, I understand for players and teams, they propose a pretty unique challenge. That kind of travel in the middle of the season is pretty tough. As someone who played the first game of a college football season in Ireland, you got to really start to ramp up and train for that weeks in advance. So I get that. From our perspective, what's better than waking up at 9:30 Eastern on a Sunday morning and being able to roll right over and see the NFL? Normally, I got to go to Formula One. I got to go to the Premier League to try and get my kicks at that time of day on the weekends. Now the NFL's just decided to continue to fill the void. I know some people think eventually we'll be oversaturated. Eventually is not today. Long live the London game.
Brandon, it's kegs and eggs, man, on these Sundays, dude. And you know what? These games attract ginormous crowds over there.
I love it. And no bigger crowds than your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hold a 4-4 record in London, which is basically a winning record for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, I wonder if like now the Jags fans in London are going to be able to know what to do with the newfound success of their Jacksonville Jaguars. For so long, we thought that was going to be the franchise to go to London, and now they're tops in the division. Like, I hope they're starting to get the conference champion hats printed out and ready to go for the crowd in London who has supported them for so long.
This is a Ted Lasso turnaround that Doug Peterson is conducting in Jacksonville. Yeah, I don't know what London's going to do. They're going to be like, what is this? We have like a good football team now as our like home team? I don't know. Gentlemen, down in the college ranks though, a nice offensive explosion for your Irish, yeah? As they enter the bye week. I know the schedule's going to get a little tough when they come back, but also like looking back on last week here, Brandon, we also had two more top 10 teams getting upset. That was Oklahoma and Arkansas, a couple top 25 teams also falling. What was the biggest story in college football, in your opinion, last weekend, Brandon?
Honestly, I got to go Hendon Hooker and the Tennessee Vols. Like, I feel like they're a real team, and I think he might do a unranked beginning of the season, turn into a Heisman Trophy candidate at the end of the. Now they have a bye week, so the steam is going to cool off of them a little bit. But I don't know. I think when it comes to SEC, Georgia just got what I think Kent State put the second most points on Georgia since
that was
the 2020 season.
Yeah, that was wild, by the way. That was weird.
I mean that's a MAC team there. Obviously, we got the Sun Belt teams representing, but obviously we know MAC is the bottom of the college football ranks right now. So I don't know if that's a weakness for Georgia, but when it comes to the SEC, I'm looking at it to be a little bit more open than we've liked it before. I'm glad Florida and that whatever's going on with Richardson over there, we've kind of we're no longer mesmerized about what's going on in Florida. Now we can focus on the real good teams. I guess it's only week 3, but I like everything that's going on in Tennessee right now.
Yeah, Mike, what about you here, dude? You got a player, you got a coach, you got a team really stood out to you last weekend?
I mean, I was staring at the tire fire that was going on for the Miami Hurricane.
Yeah,
what the hell happened? Middle Tennessee State in a game where they gave up massive amounts of big plays, 98-yard touchdowns mixed in there with a Middle Tennessee State team that went out there and just seemed to impose their will during the course of that game. And I think Mario Cristobal came over with a reputation for boldening and beefing up the lines of scrimmage. That was his former position. That's what he played at Miami. That's what he represented, coming over here and getting that sort of edge back to the program. And what we've seen so far is a tough melding on offense of what they had and what they want to be under their new staff. And I just wonder what they do to stop the bleeding now, because when we talked to Roddy Jones earlier this week on the podcast, who works over at the ACC Network, a lot of these are problems that are a little bit deeper inside the foundation than something you can just smooth over in a week here. So Miami may eventually get back to prominence, and I think Mario Cristobal is a really good coach, but year one is proving a little bit harder of a meshing than we anticipated.
Yeah, we got Miami and Texas still not back, right? Elsewhere in the sports world here, Mike. So Aaron Judge, of course, is on everyone's mind. People are getting sick and tired of waiting for him to hit historic number 61. NHL and NBA training camps are underway. What's another sports story right now that has your attention?
Yeah, I think NBA Media Days, man, they went full days of our lives.
Yep.
Everyone felt like giving up the tee at Media Days this past weekend. Russell Westbrook talking candidly about knowing the Lakers don't really want him there. Kyrie and Kevin Durant on top of the world as usual. I think for me, it's looking at that Nets organization and just once again finding the most interesting team in basketball. And I wonder if this is going to channel year one for them, because I remember when they first came together, Emerson, in the first season, and we thought, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be a train wreck all season long, storylines out that you know what for us in the media. And then it was really quiet for the most part, and they just played basketball, and they played it really well. And were they not undone by injury, they probably would have been a team that made a further run into the postseason than they already did. Now that there's no vaccine mandates in the city to keep Kyrie Irving off the floor, and now that everyone's kind of locked into their station in life, I have a feeling that this team's just going to be really good, and it might be a really quiet season for them for the most part.
So, Brandon, for you, it's obviously America's team. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars being a good football team now.
Oh, I mean, obviously, Doug Peterson taking the Jacksonville Jaguars out of relegation, making Trevor Lawrence the AFC Player of the Week, all the beautiful things that are going over there. Yes, I am very excited about that. But on a basketball standpoint, Emerson, I like Slim Jim Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
I love what's going on with him. He's been honest about his mental makeup and everyone being obsessed with his weight, but he said he's learned a lot about nutrition and doing new things in the gym that he's never done before. I'm excited to look at New Orleans this season for the NBA.
All right, so Mike, what happens first? Judge hits 61 or the Jags win the Super Bowl? We talked about this on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like you got to lean the Jags on this one.
Thank
At this
you.
point, they're a juggernaut. They're a wagon. And if anyone's not jumped aboard the Jags freight train yet, then shame on you, because you're missing an opportunity. And Emerson, you are the leader and the conductor of this Jaguars train. So I will let you decide when we are closing the doors to new arrivals who want to hop on board, because this went from like fun story and weird aberration against the Colts to now I think just legitimately good football team in a division that's burning down around them.
Hell yeah. Brandon, you voted in the poll on Twitter, right?
I did, and I also voted for the Jags to make the Super Bowl, even though I really am hoping that Aaron Judge gets that 61 before. But yeah, I'm a big narrative guy.
Yeah, I know you are. All right, guys, speaking of that, finally, it is time for the Gojo Rose of the Week. What has earned your admiration and receives this week's rose? A chance for redemption here and to redeem yourself, Brandon, after your Adam Levine debacle last week.
Oh my gosh! Give me a little break. give me some. I feel like I ended up being right on that thing too. You know what? Rose, Dan Campbell. Campbell, after he had gone 17 quarters scoring over and over and over again, he finally was scoreless against the Vikings in the fourth quarter. He regrets going for it, kicking that field goal and that attempt, and he knows he should have just kept punching the ball down people's throats with Jamal Williams. I don't know. I love the story there with the Lions. They took their first loss, which it hurt like more than I expected it to hurt. But I think that's a good football team.
Yeah, in a rare week where they're actually favored in a game. All right, so Golick Jr., talk to me. Who receives your Gojo Rose of the week?
Jimmy Garoppolo, and really by extension of Dan Orlovsky. Jimmy G, thank you for freeing my friend Dan from the prison that he has lived in his entire life after he waltzed out of the back of the end zone in Detroit and made himself infamous. Jimmy G, who I feel like we're not giving enough credit to, helped stomp out racism in the back of the end zone in the NFL field. Jimmy G gets the rose for this week because he decided that the limits of the field don't belong to him. He's back in the driver's seat now, and he can do whatever he wanted. So he gets to live with that moment now, and Dan Orlovsky finally gets to rest and look with watchful eyes over a grateful world.
Oh, my God. Every tweet that Dan puts out there, it's like the first reply is someone putting that gif of him running out of the end zone. He's the quarterback for Detroit. Nice work, gentlemen. Mike, enjoy the rest of your birthday, man. Hope you have a good day. Brandon, you as well, my dude. We got some sticky.
All right, guys.
We got some sticky puck to discuss right now because the NHL season is just around the corner. In fact, the season opener is next Friday. That's between San Jose and Nashville, and that's in Prague. So what better person to preview this season with than NHL insider Kevin Weeks? He joined us here at DK headquarters in Boston last week, and now we're best friends. So with the NHL regular season just weeks away, we decided to bring in NHL analyst Kevin Weeks to talk some sticky puck. What's up, dude?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
I'm shocked you had some time for us here because you're always typically busy doing stuff on ESPN, NHL Network, I mean TSN. You're always breaking Twitter news from around the world on social media.
I squeezed it in.
Yeah.
I had to squeeze it in. I'm part of the team. At least I think I'm a part of the team. They gave me one of these.
Oh, yes. This means you're part of the team.
Mean?
Actually, you may be higher up on the team than anybody else here, like on our team, because none of us have the sick sweater like this.
Are you positive?
Man. Yeah, 100%.
All right, well, that's good. I'm pumped to be a part of the squad. It's been fun. I love everything that's going on here so far. Making a lot of major inroads, so it's been sweet, man. Great team. The setup here is fire, by the way.
It is. Have you had the opportunity yet? Have you gotten to break any news while you're here in our studio or around our offices?
Swear, I had one. When we were filming, I had one. And then the Oilers tweeted it before I did. I swear to ask everybody in the studio. I had it. I was setting my video up. Okay, what's the selfie going to be? Okay, we're here.
Go to the cafeteria. The snack wall would be a good
That
one.
would have been fire. And I swear to God, next thing you know, I go back on Twitter, check the Oilers feed, and they just tweeted it.
Okay.
So they beat me to it.
So if they beat you to it, you're like, I don't get on to do the breaking news thing.
Yeah, it's their players. Ryan McLeod ended up signing a 1-year extension, so congrats to him.
All right.
But we had that, man. I had that in the bag. That would have been fun with our crew here at DraftKings.
Yeah, that definitely would have been. Where's the most random, weird place that you have been when you do your breaking news videos on Twitter? They're hilarious.
Thank you. Most random.
Yeah.
Like randomest?
Yeah.
Randomest.
Randomest as random as you could get.
Randomest had to be pre-trade deadline. My wife and I are in Cliffside Park in Jersey, in our neighborhood, and I know it's trade deadline. I'm going to be, under siege. She's got a big advertising job, global job, works on Madison Ave, New York. We go, let's go get a massage. So we go to get a massage. We walk in. First of all, I break one on the street before we get in. We get out of the truck. We walk into the massage. We get in there now, and the lady, the intake forms or whatever. Yep. So my wife's doing it. She's nice enough to do that. Blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, I've got to break one. So I break one from the lobby prior to the massage, get into the massage, broke one in there, and then driving up I-84, I ended up breaking one, pulling over and breaking one there. So listen, here's the best thing. Barbershop,
But I saw the elevator. I saw a shower. There was this one that you have pretty recent on your Twitter timeline. You were in like a data center. There's just a bunch of cords and stuff.
A bunch of cords.
The engineers are like, don't touch anything when you're in there, Weeksy.
But here's the thing, man. You know this too, Emerson. News doesn't wait on us.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
Especially this day and age, bro. No.
News doesn't wait on us. It's not like, hey, Emerson, how are you feeling? Are you okay?
Yeah.
What's your temperature like? Do you have on fresh deodorant? Are you fed? Are you hungry? Okay, we're going to give it. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
So we just got to jump on it when it presents itself, right?
All right, so you're going to be a busy man. You're always a busy man. You're definitely going to be a busy man here with the season right around the corner. So let's go ahead and preview some of it
Let's
right
do
now
it.
while you're here on the desk.
Get
and
involved.
let's start at the top. Is there any reason to dismiss the Avs going back to back?
There's no reason to dismiss it. Now, there's some major changes. Of course, they don't have their goalie, Darcy Kemper, who was great for them last year. They bring in Georgiev, who I've seen play a lot up close with the Rangers, who now gets the opportunity to be a number one. Yep. So I'm curious to see how Georgie's going to do, but it's a great opportunity for him. They don't have Nazem Kadri, who was a huge catalyst, and some might say he was their best player at different points last season.
Yeah.
He was awesome. He's now signed that big deal up in Calgary. So can they repeat? Absolutely. Is it going to be in as convincing a fashion? Not necessarily based on some of those changes. Burakovsky's no longer there. So, of course, the cap casualties end up coming into play. But they're still stacked. They got a squad. Why not? I think they can run it back.
I mean, you would think losing Kadri and Kemper would be like a disqualifying blow for some teams as they aim to repeat. But the Avs just aren't. They're just not just some team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And Colorado making Nathan McKinnon.
Oh yeah, Nate Dogg,
the highest paid player in the league. How important was it for this team to keep this guy around long term?
Nate McKinnon's got a V12 engine, literally V12. He skates like I've never seen anybody skate like him and McDavid, and they're different because McDavid looks like he's running on top of the ice, where McKinnon is like a thoroughbred.
Yeah.
So for every stride he takes, it's like 4 strides for somebody else. I think it's huge for him. I was in touch with him a couple days ago, congratulating him. It's great for him, richly deserved. It's great for the Avalanche. It's great for our league, having that certainty, knowing that one of our top 5 players in the world is going to stay with his original club, and that was really important to him.
So that was $12.6 million per year, which surpasses McDavid's 12.5. McDavid, who's won the Hart twice in his first season.
No big deal.
No,
no big deal. But hey, league MVP 2 times.
Yeah, but McKinnon's finalist 2 of the past 3 years.
Hey,
so he's in the conversation.
He's right there.
He is.
He is right there, and I'm telling you, when McKinnon comes on the ice, just like when McDavid comes on the ice, their speed is so blinding that's when a lot of players are looking at change. They're looking to change. They're looking to come off the ice. They want to get a rotation. They don't want to get caught flat-footed and be on the wrong side of Sports Center. So their speed is deadly.
Okay, it's time for a Week 4 edition of NFL High or Low. So are the following spreads too high or too low? And here to help us out, DraftKings contributors Jeff Ulrich, Julian Edlow, Nick Fryer. Feel like the NFL's unpredictable first 3 weeks is almost predictable at this point. So let's go with the Buffalo Bills, who suffered their first loss of the season on Sunday, but they're still favored by 3 in Baltimore. This spread too high or too low for you, Jeff? Both teams were in a close game situation and losses in Miami. So which team has learned its lesson?
I don't think that the Buffalo Bills need to learn any lessons. For me, this line is too low. I think that the Buffalo Bills need to get healthy. And, it's a little bit of a concern. We don't know the status of Jordan Poyer. Some guys on the D-line still banged up. But I will take the Bills here at 3 points. We have issues on the other side of the ball as well. And that's very much going to get, assuming Josh Allen is fine. It sounds like he's fine. He's a little bit sore. It's going to get exposed here by Stephon Diggs, the Baltimore secondary. One trend we've seen so far in the NFL is that underdogs have been smashing against the spread. I believe they're 29-18-1 right now, ATS on the year. I think with the lines now starting to react to that and coming shorter, lines like this, I'm willing to jump on the favorites this week. I mean, the Buffalo at -3 against anyone at the start of the year probably would have sounded like a great bet. And I think it is a great bet. Again, we want this team to get healthier, a little bit concerned, but I'm just not that afraid of taking on the Ravens, whose secondary is just giving up obscene amounts of yards, quarterback ratings. They're basically paired with the bottom teams in terms of just how they're defending the pass. So with Josh Allen coming to town, I think 3 points. I think that the Bills are going to be super pissed after losing that game they should have won last week. Give me the Bills here at -3. I think this line's too low.
I mean, Jules, Jeff may be onto something here. Bills statistically dominated the Dolphins, so they ended up really just stopping themselves in critical situations.
Yeah, as a bettor, I would lean to the Bills -3 here. But in terms of playing the game, I think the spread is just right. We saw it at 3.5. I was going to say it's a touch too high and that there'll be some sharp action to buy this down to Baltimore as a 3-point home dog, and that's where we're at. I guess you still have to pay the -120 juice if you're laying it with the Bills, whereas you can get even money on taking 3 with Baltimore at home, which I think is going to be appealing to sharp bettors. It's a tough game. I don't think the Bills are necessarily going to drop 2 in a row in the AFC, but they're really dinged up, and they're playing back-to-back road games against good teams. Really looking at this one, I'll tell you what's too low. The total, sitting at 51.5, 52. Yes, we have some weather concerns on the East Coast that we need to sort through, but the injuries on both defenses are bad. Like Baltimore's coming off putting up 38 and 37 their last 2 games. We know what the Bills offense is, but they're coming off a dud 19 in Miami that they should have scored a lot more. I don't see how this game doesn't get over 52, looking at it from that angle.
I mean, Nick, any reason to back Baltimore here?
No, not really. And I mean, we're talking about the Dolphins game too. I mean, the Bills were in Miami, and we talked about when the Patriots were down there as well. Obviously, different circumstances, different teams. But anytime you put in an AFC North team or AFC East team down in Miami to start the year, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult just because of the weather. And looking at some of the numbers too, I mean, Baltimore's 2-9 in their last 11 games following a win against the spread. Buffalo is 7-1-1 in their last 9 games following an ATS loss as well too. So there's a lot of different things that the guys already highlighted pretty well as well. But I think I'm more with Julian that I think this number is just right. But if I'm leaning one way or the other, I would say it's probably too low.
Well, Jules, how about this? Detroit, a favorite for the first time in 20 games under Dan Campbell, which is obviously a testament to the improvement, even if Detroit does remain a work in progress here. So at Ford Field, 4.5-point favorite against the Seahawks. Is this spread too high or too low?
Yeah, we got one of those numbers in no man's land, right? The 3 key number, the 7 key number. This one was up at 6, I believe. So some sharp money came in on Seattle to buy it back down. And the total, with the way that Lions games are going, has been bet up. So you're getting fewer points now in a game that I think would be higher, that we project to be higher scoring, or you have to lay fewer points now with a home favorite in a game that we are projecting to be higher scoring. So I guess it's too little. I don't think the Seahawks are very good.
Yeah.
I would say this should be more around the 6 open. So I guess it's too low, but I think the movement tells us a lot, keeping it right in between a lot of key numbers. But yeah, I would lean to the Lions here. Not a strong take though.
Yeah, Nick, Lions average, nearly 32 points a game. That could simply be too much for a Seahawks team that's around like 16 points a game with Geno Smith at quarterback.
Yeah, and I thought that this would stick around that 6 number, be maybe more towards 6.5, but obviously sharp money bringing it down and everything. I know DeAndre Swift, right, there's concerns about him, expecting him not to play, but with Jamal Williams in there, I still feel confident in their ground game and what he can do otherwise. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown, too, right, there was the ankle issue that popped up still, so that could be something to monitor throughout the course of the week, but still, I just really don't like this Seahawks team. And with the Lions, too, we all know how they're machines against the spread at home, 6-0 in their last 6 home games, and then following a loss in their last 8 times they've lost, they're 7-1 against the spread after those games as well. So I think this number is too low.
Jeff, it's unfortunate that Pierce isn't here to defend his favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, who will defend the honor of Geno Smith today on the Sweat? I mean, without Pierce, my God, what a travesty. This is such a weird game.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Lions for the first time favored under Dan Campbell, and they're not just favored, they're favored by 4.5. It just feels weird, but like you look on the other side of the ball, and the guys alluded to it. I mean, what about Seattle is scaring us here? They can't hold Atlanta down. I mean, the Falcons on offense looked terrible the first couple games, and Seattle's just, letting them kind of run, do whatever. I do think that with the line moving down here, I'm prone to just saying get on the Lions. The Lions got thumped by Seattle late last season. Trust me when I say, like, people like Dan Campbell remember things like that. And now they're at home. They just let a game go that they should have won against Minnesota. I actually think the Lions are going to win here big. And you know what? They've been our ATS darlings. Dan Campbell's an absolute cover machine. We love him for that. Why get off the train? He did it as an underdog. He's got a weak team against Seattle coming in. People are doubting him a little bit. They're betting down the number because they think it's too big. I think you jump on the Lions here. And like I said, I'm kind of prone to jumping on favorites this week. I think you're going to see that kind of, that chasm between the underdogs performing so well and the favorites now close in week 4 here. I think that the Lions are starting to react to that. And I think that the Lions, this one could even close, who knows, -4 or smaller. So I'm going to jump on the Lions here. I think it's the right move.
I mean, jumping on favorites isn't a bad move because they're 28-17-1 through 3 weeks. That included 7-8 mark in week 3. You had the Colts and Jaguars kind of throwing that off there. But Jeff, does that mean you want to jump on Pittsburgh? I mean, hosting the Jets? Because yesterday, you clearly were a Zach Wilson believer when we were talking about DFS quarterbacks here. Does this number make sense to you? 3.5-point spread?
I'm going to take the Jets here. This is the underdog I don't mind jumping on. I think that, what has Pittsburgh shown us? I mean, There's some areas here where the Jets are, I think, superior to Pittsburgh. I mean, their rush defense has been really good. There's not going to be any room for Najee Harris. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you're asking Mitch Trubisky to cover 3.5 points for you. The one thing the Jets have shown that, like, on the outside, they're elite. They can move the ball, and the Pittsburgh secondary, it's not very good. They're allowing a ton of yards, a ton of big plays. We just saw them give up, almost a career game to Jacoby Brissett and Amari Cooper. I don't have any problem getting on the Jets here at 3.5. I really don't. They've got running backs they're moving ball with. The defensive side is an issue. In terms of passer rating against them, they're a bottom 6 team. But again, do you really want to trust Mitch Trubisky to just be able to sit back there and dice up a defense? No, he's probably going to turn the ball over, and that could just lead to a cover as well. And as I'm talking, this number's already moved to +3. Someone clearly watching, jumping on the Jets.
Well, here we go. Well, we also have, Schefter just tweeted out that the doctors have cleared Zach Wilson to return, and barring any setbacks, he's expected to star. Yep. Okay. So expected to start. I think that was I don't know what the hell I'm reading here.
And obviously, we didn't even talk about the quarterback. Obviously, you got to think Zach Wilson. Even with coming off the injury, that's a boost to the Jets. I would rather have Wilson in there than Flacco.
Okay, so Jules, what do you want to do here in this game? Which side are you backing?
Yeah, Joe Flacco sucks. Zach Wilson sucks, and Mitch Trubisky sucks. So I don't really know what you do with this game. It's always tempting to take points in a situation like this, but I believe in what the Steelers have around Trubisky as a team much more than I believe in what the Jets have around Zach Wilson as a team. And Wilson is going to have some rust to ding off. Get rid of. We saw him last year take a long time to get going as a rookie. We saw teams that their first unit didn't play in the preseason, Broncos, Packers, take a long time to get going in the regular season. And now you're just going to throw Zach Wilson in here against the Steelers defense that I know they're without Watt, but they're still pretty solid, and expect him to just go and improve the Jets. I would lean towards the Steelers here, but it's a pretty gross game.
Yeah, it does seem like.
I think in terms of the number, I would say with it moving to 3, because I don't think Wilson is much of an upgrade, I would say that the number is too low.
All right, what's your take here on this spread in this game, Nick?
Yeah, I think Julian put it pretty well there. It's gross. I don't love this one, but I tend to lean with Jeff though on this one more towards the Jets. Yes, the Steelers do have better skill position players, but you look at that offensive line. I think that's something that we've talked about quite a bit throughout the course of the season so far and beforehand. I just don't trust them, and then you have a quarterback who you don't trust even more so behind them. I just don't trust him to get those points here. So I guess in the end, I would say that this is technically too high, but I do think that this is the number does make sense because you just have two gross teams going at it right now.
All right, well, apologies to Brian Hoyer because we have run out of time. Thank you so much, football guys, except Jeff, need you to hang out because, let's see, the early part of the PGA Tour season, it is going to continue in Jackson, Mississippi tomorrow, the Sanderson Farms Championship. It's just the weeks that Heath Theegala gets his first PGA Tour win. Is he a good DFS play? Let's discuss with Len and Jeff right after this break.
You want to be a showstopper? You want to be awesome? Then you'll want to have a game plan. Whether you're a champion or a bettor, you got to be responsible. Have a realistic budget and bet within your means. Set a time limit, then stick to it. And use the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino apps. They offer all these tools and more so you can practice safe bets. Can I get a mic to drop?
Hold up. DraftKings, you're telling me that you're boosting same-game parlays? Well, that's big time. Actually, big is big enough. We're going to need a new word. Jumbo-munganous. No, tremendous. Gargantuloso. Ah, see? The pink duck gets it.
DraftKings stepped up same-game parlays. Boost your winnings up to 100% for our biggest payouts ever. Action's so good, why bet NFL anywhere else?
What'd you say, Carl?
Baseball's dead? Nah. We've got pitchers hitting grand slams, a team playing a 4-man outfield, and the best crop of Major League talent maybe ever. Baseball is alive and well, and it's about to get even better. Bet just $5 to get 100 in free bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, bet $5 to get 100 instantly, and get in on the action.
All right, let's wrap up this Wednesday edition of The Sweat with some Sanderson Farms DFS chatter. Len Hochberg is here. Jeff Ulrich has returned. Guys, looking at the salaries here, 4 golfers around that 10K range. So they're not usually the names that you're used to seeing in this salary department. So Burns, Theegala, Henley's there. But here we are. So who are you willing to pay up for in this department, Jeff?
Yeah, look, you don't need me to tell you that, Sam Burns should be on your list. He's going to be the highest owned player. I think that there's some definite validity from a game theory perspective to fading him, though. And I think if you're going to do that, the player I like going with here is definitely my guy, Russell Henley. It's a good setup for him. It's Bermuda greens, which he loves. It's a little bit of a longer course, but again, like Russ is really accurate off the tees, and he's an underrated par 5 scorer. He's top 5 in birdie or better percentage. He's 10,100, and again, like JT Poston to me just feels kind of a little bit overpriced in this field. Even going down to Denny McCarthy, same thing. Theegala is definitely interesting, but I'm not sure if this is the greatest setup for him. A little bit tighter off the tee. Henley's going to hit fairways. He's going to get it going with the, hopefully get it going with the putter. We know the approaches are going to be there. I think this is where you start if you're not going with Sam Burns. And you can even think about rostering Henley and Burns together. It's probably a good way to make unique lineups this week. So give me Russell Henley. I really do think this is a pretty positive setup for him this week.
It's almost like a stars and scrubs approach, I guess. JT Poston, by the way, Len, rebuilt swing, propelling him to his first trip to the Tour Championship. Let's go, dude.
Yeah, I like 3 of the 4 guys in this group. Jeff makes some good points about Henley. It is remarkable that he can make so many birdies and be such a poor putter, but that speaks to how good his iron game is. JT Poston rediscovered his putting stroke the middle of last season, and, we saw what happened. Sam Burns is my fade this week among these guys. It's very honorable that he is here, but of course, the only reason he's probably here 4 days after the President's Cup is that he is the defending championship. Honorable that he's there. Theegala is my guy in this group. He was bidding to go wire to wire last year and just faded a little bit on Sunday, much like happened at Phoenix a few months later. I think with a little more experience, which he has now, he will be able to figure out how to hang on Sundays.
Yeah, you can get a little loose off the tee, but not many penalty shots after Aaron drives there if you take a closer look at the Country Club of Jackson, which, by the way, Len, a lot of golfers in this field are typically usually in that mid-range department or even considered value plays here in loaded fields. So who are some of the guys closer to the top of the board this week that you actually like?
Yeah, Taylor Montgomery, $9,600. We talked about him. I talked about him 2 weeks ago at the Fortinet. Really a sleeper pick for me for this season. He was 3rd at the Fortinet. Talk about putting. He gained 11 strokes on the field 2 weeks ago in putting. We know that strokes gained is all about approach these days. That's what the experts tell us and all. But if you're going to gain 11 strokes, that's going to play pretty much anywhere. I like him. And I'm keeping an eye on Thomas Detry, the Belgian, $8,800. He played his way onto the tour through the Korn Ferry finals. He's been in only 14 PGA tournaments in his career. He has 6 top 25s, including at the Fortinet. He was 12th.
Yeah, Jeff, the Taylor Montgomery call, I know you've mentioned some of these Korn Ferry guys in these weaker field tournaments. He's a dude who led the Korn Ferry Tour in birdie average and scoring average last season.
As I've said a couple times, he's giving off a lot of Cameron Young vibes. We'll see about the putting this week. It worries me a little bit, but these players, you should just keep playing them until they show you something. If you just kept playing Cameron Young every week last year, you'd have done really well. I feel like Taylor Montgomery, a lot of similar, just his game. It's just power and then just a strong putter. It kind of just figured out how to play some of these PGA Tour venues. So yeah, Montgomery's fine. I actually like the guys kind of between 8 and 9K a lot better. I think Davis Riley is a player you just need to keep playing. Extremely talented. He's going to be boom or bust. I think that's just the way he's going to be throughout his career. But you will see Davis Riley grab some big wins, I think, as well. And I think he will get a little bit more consistent as he goes. He's strong off the tee. His putter can absolutely light it up. He's shown propensity for these Bermuda setups. Almost won on the Valspar. I think that's a fairly good comparable course. We've seen Sam Burns win both at the Valspar and this event. So Davis Riley at 9K, a player I'm interested in. Trey Mullenix, big off the tee. Just a good par 5 score. I think he sets up well. Another player who just likes the Southern United States is from Alabama. I think he's underpriced this week. Trey Mullenix at 8,300. So a couple players I'm targeting in that range.
Yeah, and Riley gained 1.5 shots on approach in Napa. So that's something he can build on.
I think he lost about 8 strokes putting. But again, Bermuda greens, you could see a big switch in guys putting this week for sure.
All right, dudes, let's go straight to value play. Who is your favorite value play on the board, Jeff?
I got a couple. I really like Adam Svensson at 7,400 this week. He's just been extremely consistent. Lost strokes putting at the Fortinet, but was still T12 there. I don't think you can really go wrong with him at 7,400. He's a player that, in this field looks just underpriced. I mean, he's made a bunch of cuts in a row. We know he can dial it up with the approaches, and the putting has improved for him to the point where it's not like a huge liability. So Svensson at 7,400, absolutely fine. My guy under 7K, yes, thank you for the Canadian graphic. I appreciate that. He is Canadian. Always have to note that. We didn't perform well last week. That's okay. My guy under 7K is going to be Adam Schenk. He's gained on approach, over multiple strokes on approach over his last 2 starts. I like him on these easier setups. He can get really hot. He's a little bit of a high variance player, especially off the tee. But Schenk at 6,700, with the approaches dialing up, I think that's absolutely fine. I think he's a player who could potentially push for top 20 if he gets going on the greens. He's gained strokes on the greens at Sanderson Farms in each of his last 4 starts here. I think 6,700 is a fine price.
Len Hochberg, your value play, please.
Yeah, well, I was really interested to see where Harris English would fall in this field. He's one of only 4 guys in the top 50. Yeah, he missed 5 months last year, but he came back last week, finally started to show something. 2 weeks ago at the Fortinet, he was 9th. He's played well at this tournament before. He's only $8,600. I think that is a very good price. There are a lot of guys above him who should not be above him. He's going to be in a lot of my lineups. 7,500, Alex Smalley, rookie last year when a lot of guys were fading toward the end of their rookie season. He came on strong. He had 9 top 25s in 30 starts, and he played well last year here, 31st last year at the Sanderson Farms. He shot a 63 in the second round.
Yeah, 1 year ago, English was on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. Guys, we have less than a minute to go in the show, so quickly, your favorite DFS play for the Sanderson Farms Championship is who? Len?
Yeah, he's not my favorite play, but he's a guy I'm interested in. I want to tell people about him. Sam Stevens, a Korn Ferry grad, $6,700. Very consistent player last year. 3rd on the Korn Ferry in greens in regulation. He missed the cut at the Fortinet, but it was only his 3rd PGA tournament ever. He made 2 other cuts, the Honda and something they call the U.S. Open as well.
Ulrich, who you got?
Davis Riley at 9K. I just really think he's underpriced, undervalued compared to just the players in front of him. I think over time you'd see Davis Riley in fields like this be more towards the 10K range. So jump on him while he's still low. That's just the way you got to play it.
All right, Jeff, you and I will talk a lot more about Sanderson Farms Championship bets, DFS, as well as some Week 4 spreads around the NFL tonight on a Wednesday edition of The Slate, 5 o'clock on the DraftKings YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch pages. We'll see everyone back here tomorrow morning live in studio, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Thursday edition of The Sweat.